Hey, welcome to the Flow and Flourish Podcast. I am your host, the Capacity Coach, Nicole Roan, and I am so glad that you're here. This is the safe space where we talk openly and honestly about all the things that can come up as we try to juggle our competing priorities, manage self-care, work in our businesses and or in the corporate space, and intentionally work on managing our capacity so that we can show up in excellence in every single room that we walk in, aka be able to flow and flourish, hence the name of the podcast. We believe that when you flow effortlessly, you flourish tremendously. And this podcast is dedicated to giving you the tips, tools, resources, all those things that you need to be able to do just that. Now, if this is your very first time here, then welcome to the sister friend tribe of like-hearted, like-minded women who are on a journey similar to yours. We are all here to get our capacity together, okay? In order to do that, we use 5 different areas of flow to help you be able to manage it all. So create that work-life balance that's going to be ideal for your specific situation and ultimately just walk the talk. Now, more information on those 5 areas of flow can be found at the very beginning of this podcast. So episodes 1 through 5, I believe. So make sure that you tap into those so that we are all working from the same foundation as we collectively increase our capacity for sustainable success. If you've been here before, then welcome back, sister friend. I'm so glad that you choose to tune in and spend your time and energy with me. You already know that I do this for you because when one of us wins, we all win. Now, before we get into the episode today, I do have to let you know that this episode is being brought to you by the Capacity Calculator. Yes, the Capacity Calculator is a free tool that allows you to really check in on what really is on your plate and what are you making a priority in your personal or professional life. If you've never taken it before, then I invite you to go ahead and take it today. And even if you have taken it before, take it again because our capacity shifts based on the season that we're in. All of the details can be found on my website or right here in the show notes. So make sure you take advantage of this absolutely free capacity calculator tool that I created for all of us to be able to flow and flourish. All right, let's get into this episode. Leandra Roche is a wife, mother of 3, and a multi-business owner born and raised in Gary, Indiana. With over 25 years in the beauty industry, Leandra has been promoting and advocating for healthy hair as a way of life. As a licensed cosmetology instructor, cosmetologist, and salon owner for over 20 years, she has serviced and dedicated her time to thousands of clients and many budding entrepreneurs. Not only does she have extraordinary skills and professional hairstyling, she is also a master educator of cosmetology, an entrepreneurial trailblazer, and team leader like no other. Training others to do the same is her passion, which has led to the creation of her hands-on educational training course, the Salon Readiness program. It's aimed at helping those who want to get in the stylist and salon ownership business to be successful and have access to more than just doing hair. Additionally, Leandra is the creator of the annual networking conference, the Dreamers Conference, which has been around for 6 going on 7 years and is an event that educates and assists entrepreneurs with the necessary tools and resources to help them succeed in business. She has her own brand, I Nurture by Design, and is one of my really good friends. Please help me welcome my P2P sister, Leandra Roche, to the Flow and Flourish Podcast. Okay, Miss Leandra.
Hi.
I know I'm squealing like a little schoolgirl, teenager, all of those things. I am just so ecstatic to have you on the Flow and Flourish podcast. Welcome, ma'am.
I'm so happy to be here. I am so happy to be here. Yeah.
I am just super happy that we are able to make this work. I know I was able to participate as one of the speakers in your Dreamers Conference, the 6th annual, by the way.
The featured speaker. Yes.
How am I running from that? I have to tell you too.
Yes.
After that, Darius got at me as a capacity coach. He said, "Do you realize that you were the key speaker?"
The key. Yes.
I said,
Yeah, we came to see you. Yes.
So next time, I know you were nervous, but I'm going to need you to be in the room all the time. So just to let you know, Chef Roan, got me about that. But just even in that space, this is why I'm having you on, because you are a history maker, ma'am. And I've already read your full bio, so everybody knows, a little bit about you. But I wanted you, if you could, just to kind of talk to us about how you got into this space of what you are doing with hair design, right? You are not just a stylist. You are not just a beautician. You have been in this space and owning your business for over 20 years. I'm not going to steal your shine. Please just talk to us about all of this, because what I tell people all the time is you brought this back to life. Yeah. We were just talking about this. So so many different things. So go ahead.
Yes, I am Leandra, and I've been doing the hair business. I would say I love to say the business of cosmetology, because, cosmetology being the study of hair, skin, nails, that's what everybody believes is, what you see first and what a person's judged on and things like that. So I like to say that we are a part of your entrance into the room. Mm-hmm. So with that being said, I take it very serious. It's not just a hairstyle to hairstyle thing. It's more like your hair is your personality. It's what people see, what people gather. They judge you about the care of your hair. So I have taken that on to heart. I guess after 30 years, you figure out what your lane is.
Ooh, see, I'm here. I done cut off a decade. I said 20. Look at you, ma'am.
Well, 30 years doing hair, 20 years owning the salon. So I'm with you on that. But 30 years as a stylist, you figure out how do you get here, because people ask you constantly, what do you specialize in? So for years, I would say, I do everything, because I just did everything, I did what the client needed. But as time has brought about a change, I understand that I love the triage to triumph hair, like the hair that is going through the stress and the strain, the life issues, everything that's going on in your life comes out through your hair. We talk about it being nourished through your blood and all of that. So imagine your health issues, everything comes out through your hair. So being able to be on the front line to that has been where I get my joy, because it's like you're on the front line, to someone's life. You have experience telling people like something is going on. Are you stressed? What's going on? Where they have to, for the first time, admit that their job is stressing them out, or their children is stressing them out, or they had to sit down and come to that conclusion to say, I'm stressed. And so with that being said, I've been there myself, where my hair was like, I remember my stylist, and this was just a few years ago. She picked up my hair. She said, your hair is paper thin. I knew that it was stress. My husband was owning the rest. He had just opened a restaurant. We were blood, sweat, and tears. Another business, we've been doing business our whole marriage. So you could imagine what that's been like. And this one we just did, it was 2019. It was almost like, it almost took both of us out of here, mentally, physically, and I just remember her doing my hair for my birthday. And, use birthday hair, right? She picked my hair up. She said, your hair is paper thin. I was devastated because, one, I know how to care for my hair, but life don't care about that. And so being on the front lines to that has always been where I have found my niche, to be able to, bring the triage to triumph. And I say that it's not just the hair, even in their life, when they're going through, being able to sit in your stylist chair and,
my mouth.
Sometimes they skip the ER and come right to the beauty shop, girl.
Exactly. Like, you know what? I'm going to go get therapy at the beauty salon. And one of the things that I love about you from the moment that we met, I know that we met when I was a challenge coach for Patrice for P2P, and your energy came through before we even met in person, right? Like your big, bold personality. And then to meet you in person and actually sit in your chair. What you didn't know is that I was the one, and I'm saying this because 2019 must have been a year for everybody, because I feel like over the last couple of weeks and all these recordings, everybody is like in 2019 and 2019.
Like, wait, you think it's 2020, but 2019.
No,
let's go back to
precursor. That. Yeah, and 2019 is when all the stress hit, when all hell broke loose in my life. And then in 2020, I started to see more explicitly how that was impacting my health and my hair, right? Mm-hmm. I've shared my story with you and other people about fighting for my life in ICU. But even after that, I saw my hair thinning. But like you, I knew how to take care of my hair because I went from being natural, or for, the creamy crack, the perm.
Yes,
being natural and doing all the things to condition it, no sulfates and all of that. And so after coming through what I went through in 2019, and then to see my hair coming out in handfuls, I thought I had cancer. I thought like that there were so many other things, but I never equated it to the stress, right? And so I'm saying that because when I finally decided, you're the first stylist that I have been to in years, because I was embarrassed, I was ashamed. I'm like, I should know better. So to come to you and to be embraced with such love, but also knowledge and expertise. When I tell y'all, every time I visit this shop, I'm learning something new about not only how to care for my hair, but then also having this safe space to have these conversations. Like you said, sometimes this is like the therapy spot, right?
Yes,
We've laughed together, we've cried together, and just really being able to put everything together and understand how what you do is so much bigger than hair. Like you said, it's confidence. It's therapy. It is all of those different things. And so, you gave me a little bit of a backstory about kind of how you got into it. I know also most recently you started teaching. Is that right? I know you were teaching before, but I want you to talk a little bit about that, because I've seen you live out your purpose on purpose.
Yeah.
And you're changing the world as you do that.
Yeah, I've often said that God wakes you up for two reasons. For somebody's purpose. Yes. Thank God for that, right? Because it can be that you need help or need someone to come across your path walking in their purpose, or you're someone's help walking across their path in your purpose. So with that being said, the two together, with the salon, I have the stylists that I pretty much coach and train, from all different stages of their career. And so I realized that a lot of what we end up with later on in life, in our career, it really is what happens in the foundation stages, right? And so probably in 2018, I went back to school to make sure that I was able to become this instructor that would benefit at the foundation level. But I realized that that's a whole industry all by itself.
Yeah.
So if you have people that don't have that necessarily that same purpose, because sometimes it can be about other things. Just let's put it about other things, not necessarily that purpose. But I understand for who I am with Triage to Triumph, I need other people to be able to pick that same thing up. Because I can't say that I'll be doing it forever, but if you can't impart it back into someone else, then what good is it? If God has showed it to me, if he's revealed things to me, just really out of revelation, like, oh my goodness, kind of thing. So I was dedicated to making sure that I can go back and help impart that into the younger generation, or even just, new stylists in general, So I was fortunate and blessed to have my instructor. It was my instructor that changed my life 30 years ago to retire this year. And I got the phone call. As they say, I got the call. And I ran, and I didn't call back. And she emailed me, and she inboxed
Wait a minute.
And she called me.
Pause. Hold on. So you got the phone call and you ran. I don't remember this part, man.
I didn't tell that part of the story.
Oh, okay. You left that out. Okay.
I didn't tell that part of the story because I understand when you're talking about purpose is heavy, It's not the passion stuff. It's not the fun, fluffy stuff. Oh, we in Florida, we working on the beach. It's not that.
Come on, somebody, because
And so with that being said, I understood going back to high school, cosmetology school is one thing, but cosmetology in high school is a whole nother ball game.
It's a different kind of beast.
It's a different kind of beast. And so my aunt, I would have to say my Aunt Loretta, Aunt Ray Ray, she gave me that call. She sent me the whole inbox. You know how to copy and paste? She said, somebody's looking for you.
So she wouldn't let you run. Come on, Auntie.
So my teacher went through a couple of channels to make sure that I got the message that she was looking for me. And it just went from there. And I promise you that it has been such, you talk about touching lives, but to have over 20, 30, I would say I probably have 27 students that each one of them have their own way of looking at me and saying, I need you, I need you. Yes, I might have this face on me. Yes, I might be looking like I don't want to be here, but trust me, I need you. And already being prepped to be able to know and to be able to recognize and discern.
That experience,
yeah. That experience has been one of the things that makes me say, I'm glad that I answered the call.
Oh my gosh. I want to touch on what you said about purpose being heavy.
Yes.
Because so many times I know I've ran from purpose. So it tickles me that you literally ran. And I'm sure that there's somebody that's listening that is probably running from their purpose, because that's how you know it's real, right? When you know it's heavy, this is not going to be, like you said, the light and fluffy fun stuff. You got to put in work. And for you to know that and still accept that, and then to be able to help all these other young women, maybe even men that are coming in, and helping them to not run from that and have that foundation built.
Yes.
That is amazing, because like you said, it's 27 different people that need 27 different things. Yes. And you have to tap into not only your passion that brought you into this space, but then the why, right? The why behind the purpose. And I know we both learned about that with our lovely Patrice.
Yes.
And so you told me a little bit about the why because of it being the foundation. But what keeps you in this space doing what you're doing after, being a stylist for over 30 years and really owning your own business in this space for 20 years?
Yes. It's funny that you asked this question, because just yesterday, as you talk about it being heavy, the answers, when God answer you, it's just as heavy, it's just as real. He be like, you wanted to know? I'm going to tell you.
I got you.
I got you. And so just yesterday, I just began to write, and I'm thinking I was writing, I'm doing my homework, thinking about my command stages, homework, things like the clarity in the doing. And then I asked myself, why are you always confused but committed? You're always confused, but you're committed,
Ooh.
Right?
Okay. I need to know this answer.
Well, we talked about how going live and just being I've always told you that I need this grand, this cloud of, this grand gut feeling go now, go now, go now. And knowing that God gives me downloads, he gives me, just little nuggets daily in order to get through the day. And sometimes you think it takes you to get this grand message that you can deliver one day, right? But that God is giving you daily word to get through. He's giving you daily affirmations. He's giving you daily clarity, And a lot of it I want to share, but I don't necessarily share because, again, I run, right? And
the
heaviness. And really, to be honest, it's so when you share, what's your call to action? Because you really do you really want them to call you to talk about it? Or do you?
That's why you're running, because they're going to call.
You want to just put it out there. You know what I'm saying? I just want to put it out there. And just put it out there, they're going to have more questions because you have more questions, right? Yeah. So you run from that, right? So the answer was, while you're running, you could be the person's answer. We talked about getting through today daily. If I get through today daily, I get to tomorrow.
Yes.
But what about that person that goes through the same day over and over and over and over again? They live the same moments, the same embarrassments, the same hurt, the same
Groundhog Day, right?
that just over. And so once that happened, they never get to tomorrow. And it just hit me to the point that it moved me to tears. What if you are the reason that somebody's tomorrow never come because you're running?
Say that again.
What if I am the reason? My silence, my fear of going live, my fear of saying what God said today. What if I am the reason that somebody's tomorrow never come? That they're living, to the worst case scenario, their tomorrow never come. But just to say if they're going through the same rut, they're in the same rut. 5 years later, they're in the same rut. Because you didn't share with them, I've been through a rut too, and this is how I got out of it. So my why, the same thing with the children, I say the children, but my students, I know they want to come into this industry and I know what they think this industry is about. What if me not sharing, not answering the call be the reason why you have another 27 aspiring hairdressers come out here and say, oh, this doesn't work. This doesn't work. What am I going to do with my life? I'm 20 years old, 21, and they still don't have foundation. They don't know anything about, they're not college.
Yeah.
And
they
so
don't have the necessary pieces.
Yeah. So not answering the call, you leave, that's 27 holes right there, So with that being said, my why is literally like, I don't want to be the reason why someone's tomorrow never come.
Yeah. That's so deep, right? I know that I've talked about being the solution to someone's problem and people being able to heal based on the things that I've been through. But I've never even thought about it from that perspective, that what if me not showing up is the reason somebody continues to have that same experience over and over and over, that they don't realize that there's hope, that they don't realize that they can do this. What if I'm not putting out what they need, like God told me to do?
Exactly.
So that they can become who they need to be. And so I'm so proud of you for saying yes and making that realization. I'm going to work on you with these lives. So we'll talk about that after this. But to be able to step into that purpose and again, to give them that foundation, because like you said, they think they want to be in this space and they might think they understand all the things that need to happen from the front end.
Right.
But as a business owner who's been doing this for 2 decades, you have so much insight on the right way to do it. They say small businesses fail within the first 1 year, especially Black businesses.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. And definitely they're not going past 5 years. Yes.
Exactly.
They don't give you 5 years is like grown and
it's like an anomaly, right? Yeah. And so because you've done that over 20 years, you've beat the odds. You have so much to share. So if you can, do you have a couple of tips that you would like to, give to our listeners from a business and entrepreneur perspective? Because ma'am, you are literally the epitome of making history in your community, in your personal life, in your professional life, giving back and restoring hope. What I didn't tell you is that this year for the Women's History Month, the theme is actually promoting those who are doing healing and restoring hope. And you're doing both of those things. So I'm going to need you to tell us, if you can, a couple of things that you've learned in your 20 plus years in this business.
Yeah, well, what I know first is being self-aware has been something that you talk about your mindset and things like that. But we have to go to ground zero and just be aware that our minds can be telling us something that is totally opposite. You have to know that your mind will lie to you, if that makes sense. And just being aware of where you are mentally, physically, all of just being self-aware. I could go into
capacity.
Oh, I could just go all into just how, when I was aware that I was running to capacity, that's what drew me to you, and your purpose was like, oh my God, I know for sure that I am at capacity, but I don't understand. Remember we talked about, I don't understand how to dump these things without causing detriment to someone else's life, And so with that being said, just the being self-aware and having the awareness of what I needed was a purposed search. Patrice actually was presented to me while I was at Paul Mitchell and at school. So my instructor, when she heard, now, I'm trying to put all these pieces together with the instruction. I'm still owning the salon. I'm going through the things with the stylist. She said, you need Patrice Washington. And she deals with these pillars. And literally, I sat on it for a year. Okay. Right.
But everything happens in divine time.
In divine time. My eyes you weren't there yet. So it was not my time. So after I become self-aware and I knew what I needed, I knew I needed to go and find these answers. I began to speak life because, again, I told you your mind could lie to you. So, you start thinking my life is over. I'm only 40 something years old. So at this point, I don't really even see life after this. It's just trying to make it through one day after the other. And then I had to start saying that, no, God can renew you. God can renew you. God can renew you. So speaking life, one of my favorite songs by Toby Mac is Speak Life. And he says, speak to the deadest, darkest night. If you speak to that night, you'll cover the rest of it. The deadest, darkest night. If we could get,
That one, that's so deep. It makes me think of something I heard that's like, speak what you seek until you see what you say.
That's right. That's it. So that began to be in my health. You think about you lost weight once, it's not going to happen again. I can't do it again. It's the hardest thing to do. And so with that being said, you start to speak life and you see yourself back in the gym. Oh, I'm back in the gym. And then you get to the point where you say, I don't care how many times somebody see me start over. I'm going to start over.
I'm never going to stop trying.
Never going to stop trying. Yes. So then after that, it was the reinvent. We talk about reinvent. That's me going back to school to make sure that I could pursue what needed to happen for the salon business, because at that point, you understand that the only way that you're going to be successful in the salon business is if you can teach what you know and indoctrinate the next stylist to understand the growth that needs to happen in the salon. So I went back to reinvent what I can do. And I understand that creativity, I always say creativity can fund your dreams.
Look, I'm going to have some Leandra-isms too.
So creativity can fund your dreams. So I got creative with it. Like, okay, I'm going to go back to be an instructor, but I'm going to use that as a coaching mechanism in the salon. So it structured all of these things. We call them team huddles and all of these, so that was the thing. And then the last one was to pursue that when God tell you to go, it's sometimes where you're sitting at home and you're saying, I don't feel like doing nothing, well, because he was telling you to rest. But it's also times when he put it in your belly so strong to go. And if you decide that you're going to override that feeling, I promise you that you'd have missed out on a whole bunch of doors being open, So when he says pursue, pursue. So I understood that in my P2P, when I took that step to say I'm going to invest in myself. I don't need anybody's real permission to do it. Like, should I do this? What do you think about this? What is the cost?
It's that gut feeling you talked about. And that's the thing. And that's why I love capacity, right? Because for me, when you start to move stuff off your plate or when you start to use that self-awareness, you can feel that tug on your, heartstrings. You can feel that unexplainable feeling in your belly that says, I have to do this. I don't know why. I don't know how I'm going to do it. I don't even know how this is going to turn out. But I just know this is what I have to do.
Yes.
And for you to experience that, number one, for you to be in that position in Paul Mitchell, for whoever the lady was, for you to say, you need to know who Patrice is, to bring you full circle to being in that space, even after sitting on it for some time, you did what you needed to do. You used your process, right? You used your self-awareness. You started to speak life. Yeah. You reinvented by going and getting what you needed for your certifications to be able to instruct. And then you pursued in a relentless way, might I say. In a relentless way, because I've watched you thrive through the pandemic. Remember, we met in the middle of the pandemic, ma'am.
We did. You're right. I would have to say that. I was just getting ready to say, I closed the salon 2 weeks before the NBA shut down. Yeah. Had no idea that we were getting ready to go into a pandemic. had decided that the one that I had 17 years, it was like, we have come to the end of this journey, you know.
I'm going to go home. End of the road is playing in my head.
End of the road, you know. I did it in a way that everybody is secure, taken care of. You know, I have someone coming in that no one has to, you don't even have to move a bobby pin. I'm going to move, you know.
Not a bobby pin.
Not a bobby pin. You are so taken care of. So did that, went home, built out a salon in my basement because I'm going to just live out my retirement here. And from that, that's when I had another stylist start working down in my basement with me. Then I had another stylist come after that. So we grew a salon in the basement during the pandemic. So
talk about purpose being heavy and relentlessness, ma'am.
On that one, I would have to shake my head at you and say, yes, Lord. Yes, Lord. And so from that, I had to make a decision on whether or not I was going to actually stay in my basement, me, and have them just go somewhere. Or in the process of that, I also still have a online.com that goes with the salon that is still active and phone is still ringing and, you know, all of these things. So I had to literally make up in my mind, are you just going to shut it down, cut it off, shut it off? You know, say, Lord, here am I, send somebody else. Like that was one of my friends' sermon. Here, my Lord, send somebody else. Right. But if I could literally say that when it came down to it, I had to make that decision and we opened another salon. And now we have it's 8 of us in this teeny tiny place. So I'm asking the Lord to enlarge our territory because
listen, with the work that you were doing, I have no doubt. You know what I mean? Like even knowing that the purpose is heavy, you have still pursued. And the impact that you're making, not just on the students, but the lifelong clients. I can't tell you how many people I'm sending your way. Ma'am, I get compliments all the time, you know, and just not even for the hair piece, the education, the fellowship. There's so many different things that come with it. And you are doing such amazing things. You gonna have a bigger space. You already outgrowing, you know. I already know.
I said, oh Lord, if we get 2 apiece, we in trouble.
Yeah. But that's why he's taking care of you, you know?
Yes.
And then for you to create, even in the middle of this, you know, we're getting close to time, but we haven't even been able to talk about the conference, the Dreamers Conference, and how that was birthed and what you do with that, because it's so important. You all listening, I hope that when the time comes next year, you attend. And I pray that there's an opportunity to even do it virtually for those who cannot come in person, because being in that space to be poured into as a business owner, as an entrepreneur, I have said plenty of times, there are days where I hit my keyboard and I'm like, I'm just going to look and see what's out there because it ain't shaking out the way that I want it to. It's so much easier for me. I say it is, right? To go back and sit in a regular job. And I'm not knocking anybody that does that. Right. But that's me running from purpose because it's heavy.
Yes.
And so for you to be able to pour into so many other people in that space, to not only remember their dreams, but give them the tools, the tips, the resources to be able to continue to build their dreams. That in and of itself is phenomenal. And I thank you for that. So we're going to make sure we get all that together too. Okay.
I got it. I got you. Anytime. Yeah. You blessed us this year with the capacity. I told you my testimony, and, you know, I have my friend, my sister that says that her values are this, and you have our value list for us to see in our face. And when you look at the things that you're doing that's not adding up to what you say you value, it was a aha, it was just like a surreal moment when she realized, like, I might need to rethink some things because what I value, my things don't add up. My actions does not add up to what I value. So
I'm so glad that I was able to be there and to not just speak, but to witness it in action, because this thing is on fire, y'all. Like, this is the next big conference. I can't wait to see it, you know, blow up Shuey, as I say. I've been
blow up Shuey.
We're about to blow up Shuey. But yeah, like, it's amazing. And all the things that you are doing across the board, from helping folks like me understand how not managing our capacity shows through our hair, right? Creating this safe space to really come to terms with that and have a solution, but also giving back and building up all the people that are standing next to you, that are coming behind you, and restoring hope that it is possible. You can make it past 5 years.
Yes.
You can make it past 10 years. You can make it past 20 years because you 20 plus in.
Yeah.
You are a living, breathing testament to that. And I thank you for that. So before I let you get out of here, ma'am, I want you to answer a couple questions. And then I want you to, of course, share with everybody where they can find you and all of that. So let me ask you that. I know you were going to say something, so let me pause. I get excited and talk.
No, I'm right with you. Whatever. Okay. Yes, go ahead.
So these are just the questions that I ask everybody that are on the podcast.
All right.
And because you have this wealth of knowledge and experience, I am so excited to see what you have to say. Ooh, so, number one, if you could go back in time and have a conversation with the 17-year-old version of yourself, I see your face, and give her one piece of advice and one piece of advice only, what would it be and why?
17-year-old version of myself. I would tell her to listen to the financial literacy team. Ooh. I would tell her that the things that you think is important now won't mean a thing years to come. So slow down on the fun things and think more of long term. That's what I would say.
You're telling her to get that cash flow together. I love it.
Yeah.
And I know a little bit why you say that, because you talked about it in the conference, right? Because being in the business that you're in, money's coming in real fast, right?
Real fast. At 17.
At 17. And, I can only imagine. I thought when, I got one of them little refund checks at school at 17 that I was doing something. So I can't imagine having, so much money coming through my hands. So I love that you are planting that seed, because I'm sure somebody listening needs to hear that too, right?
Yes. Just listen to it. When they say financial literacy, you don't really, and I love the fact that you say it's the cash flow, because that hurts a lot of my physical health. And you're just constantly trying to work because you never save for anything. You understand about the ant that works is it the summer to store up for the winter? Mm-hmm. Oh no, you just think it's going to always come. So
right. So you out spending it as fast as you get it.
Right. So not understanding that affected a lot of my other flows, and so which would make me be overcapacitated at the time that we met. So
Oh, I love that. Thank you for sharing that so much, because I think sometimes people don't understand how it's connected to our capacity. So thank you for sharing that and for that advice. I know somebody else need to hear that too. So that they can be in business for 20 plus years, right?
Yes.
Okay. So number 2, because we're on the Flow and Flourish podcast, tell me one thing that you do on a regular basis to manage your own capacity so that you're able to show up in excellence regardless of the room you walk in.
Okay. I check in with my children a lot. I love conversations, because actually, and the same thing with my mom, it's a generational thing. And I understand the flow to be generational, that I check in with my children a lot, because they're able to relay back to me some of the things that I've given to them. And I've tell them sometimes I've left the nuggets with you and walked away from them. So I'm expecting you to keep them. So when I need them, you can give them back to me.
They can drop them in, deposit them, right? Make them deposit.
Yes. And so they keep me together. They let me see my why. They let me see what I put into them that is worth it, what they got out of it, the things that I may think is detrimental to them. I worked so much and I did these things. When I speak to them, they speak back life to me, to say that it's not what you think it is, Mom. We learned a lot from you, this, and, and so, I check in with them regularly. Even their nonverbal behaviors is how I make sure that I'm on the right track, because if God gave me them, He intended for me to pour into them. Yeah. So if I fill them up, I fill them up so they can fill me up.
Exactly. And that's what it's about. And I love that you say that, because as a mom of this now 18 going on 19-year-old, and having my sister who's 16 and Liam, who I always joke is trying to take me out. I'm kidding, but I'm for real, because the way this little sucker energy is set up, that's the whole story. But being able to pour, I notice, like you said, they also pour into me. So if I'm having a rough day or I'm having a moment, me checking in with them. Sometimes if I haven't checked in, they're like, what's going on?
Yeah.
What's happening? You're not down here smiling and being chippery like your normal self.
Yes.
Or Liam will just come hug on me. Mommy, it's going to be okay. I know you're missing your dad. You like out of nowhere.
Yes.
So I love it. I love it. I love it.
Just one. My son said yesterday, I had just made a little jokey. I said, so when they come out their room, they're different. Like you're a different person every time you come out your room. And he says, no. Every time I come out my room, you're different. I said, okay, let me figure out how to get on a more even plan. I knew exactly what he meant. And even though it was just in that laughter and that banter back and forth, it was a check moment to say, what are you feeding them? What your bad day turned into their bad day, and the whole house has a bad day.
Mm-hmm. It goes back to that self-awareness you talked about.
Yeah. So
that was a good example. I love that. Okay. Okay, go ahead. Okay, the last one is, we've talked about so many things. You've dropped a lot of gems. You've shared so much insight. But if you had to choose one thing that you want the listeners to walk away either knowing or feeling as a result of our time today, what would it be?
I would want them to know that your creativity is a gift. And being a hairstylist, they think about us as being creative, but we are from the creator. God is a out of dust. He can create anything. So understanding that alone, it says that he has given us so much to be able to thrive and flourish in this life, and to never push your creativity to the side as if it is not important. It is the most important. That's how we got here. Okay. So that's what I would want you to walk away with.
All the way, because I know, just thinking about things that I've been through, and even in this season, putting that creativity to the side, right? That's like slapping God in the face a lot of it, because it's a gift. It's a gift. I was recording earlier and we were talking about how when you get a gift, do you just leave it under the tree? Do you not unwrap it? Do you just leave it on the counter? Do you put it in the closet? What are you going to do with that gift? Yes. And that creativity falls right in that category. So I thank you for saying that. Yes. Oh, ma'am. Okay, now, because I know everybody is going to be trying to get on your schedule to come learn about hair, to pick your brain about running a successful, thriving business, about hosting conferences, all of these different things. Please tell everybody where they can find you on social media, how they can book appointments with you and your team so they can come go from what you say, from a
triage to triumph.
Yes.
That's it.
Tell everybody where they can find you, ma'am.
Yes. Well, I am ajoyouslook.com, ajoyouslook.com. That's the hub for the salon. You can find me. You can find everything at that particular website. And of course, I am Leandra Roche on Facebook, Instagram. I love TikTok. I love missing TikTok.
Girl, you're not good on TikTok. Let me find out. Okay.
I love me some TikTok, but TikTok is funny because I picked this handle a long time ago, Busy Girl. BIZZ girl 3, and that's me on TikTok. But all of those together is just some things that I just, you can find me on those platforms, and A Joyous Look is on all of them. So you'll be able to find me there.
Okay. Well, I'm going to have all the information in the show notes and all of those different things. I'm going to start tagging you in these pictures now when I leave the shop, so everybody can see firsthand. You're not just talking to be talking, and you wouldn't be in business over 20 years if you were. So I thank you for sharing your time with me today and pouring into the listeners and just sharing your insight. You are definitely a woman that I admire, that I love deeply, and I'm so grateful that I got to share this space with you today. So thank you for being on the show.
No, thank you for having me. It is unbelievable. You just, if they could see me hug you.
I know. Like, I'm about to book an appointment. You're going to hug me next week.
No, right? We have a lot of time together to hug. So I appreciate you having me. It's like I say unbelievable, but just for what we have, I just know that God has a lot in store for us, for you as an individual, for us together as a team, and for those that we come across.
We're about to blow up your weight, y'all. Watch out now.
Blow up your weight, blow up your weight. That's amazing.
I am so honored and excited that I was able to have Leandra on the podcast. And I know after listening to this, you already love her just as much as I do. If you did not take notes on those 4 steps she gave us on how we go from triage to triumph, then you know I will have all of that in the show notes. Please make sure that you reach out to her, let her know how this episode is helping you, because that's what the purpose of this podcast is. For each of us to really be able to help each other to navigate on the journeys that we're on. And of course, if you are in the Chicago, Indiana area, I am going to need you to go to her salon in Maryville, Indiana, because the girl can do some hair. I tell you all the time, she brought me and my hair back to life. So make sure you go check her out. As for the finale episode, I am so excited. Now, the cat is already out of the bag. I was trying to surprise you all, but it's okay. I have the Patrice Washington, who is coming on the podcast to talk to us about how to redefine wealth. I know you've heard me drop my Patrice-isms here, and I talk all the time about surrounding yourself with like-hearted and like-minded women, and she is definitely the real MVP when it comes to just that. So make sure that you tune in next week. And also, can I just ask y'all to give me a little bit of grace? It has been such a busy month for me, and being 1000% honest, your girl overestimated her capacity. So we're going to have a couple of additional bonus episodes that are coming out next month. So I want you to stay tuned for those. But in the meantime, just give me some grace. Until our next episode, I sincerely thank you for allowing me to pour into you, for allowing me to be your capacity coach, and helping you to create balance between your personal and professional life without ever having to sacrifice yourself, your family, and what matters most to you. I will talk to you soon.